Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Kyle Ireland and Mitch Harper. We are live from Dowdy Ficklin Stadium in Greenville, North Carolina, as we are about 3 hours away from BYU taking on the East Carolina Pirates. We had the chance to chat with a few players this last week at practice. It was a little bit different with the early road trip. BYU took off and went to North Carolina on Thursday, so we only had one day of practice that we were able to go to this week, Mitch. But on Tuesday, I had the chance to talk with Will Ferrin, BYU's kicker, who is a perfect 6 of 6 on the season, and he had an opportunity to kick on the East Coast last season as BYU defeated UCF, and now he has the chance to make some kicks tonight against East Carolina. I talked to Will about what it's like to kick in the humidity, to kick on the East Coast, and how that's different. And this is my conversation with BYU kicker Will Ferrin.
Will, you're 6 of 6 on the season so far, and I believe it was after the Portland State game you were talking in the press conference about your mentality and how you really take kicks one kick at a time. You went into some detail on your process and just focusing in on that one kick. Where did you learn about that process and how to mentally lock into a one kick at a time mindset?
Yeah, I've got a coach that I work with, so a lot of it's stuff that he's taught me, and a lot of it's stuff I've just kind of figured out while I've been kicking in games and going through off seasons, and just kind of figuring out what works for me and what puts me into the best mindset. So it's a hard thing because there's not specific right or wrong answers for people in terms of that, but it's how do I get myself to the place where I can perform at my best ability and take some trial and error. And over time, I've come up with things like being 1 for 1 every time, or just different cues that I have that put me in a good mindset to perform.
How does that help you when it's a difference between a home game where you've got the crowd on your side and then you're going on the road for the first time this season against East Carolina where, it's going to be 40,000 people that are cheering for you to miss that kick? How do you lock in and kind of block out that noise?
Yeah, it's really not much different for me. I think collective noise, you don't really notice it a whole lot when you're playing. The only difference is I can't really hear my holder very much, but I don't really need to either. So I don't notice much difference. We prepare for the surface we're going to be on and stuff like that, but in terms of the crowd, I don't really care if, even at home, if they're quiet or loud. That doesn't really impact what I'm doing.
It was talked about a few weeks ago how you guys were going to pump in some noise at practice to be able to kind of, create that road mindset and, noise and whatnot to get ready for your first road environment. How's that been like to have that? Is it just for the defense and offense? What has been the focus as far as creating some, artificial noise?
Yeah, they've got the big old speakers, and when we're playing at home, the defense uses it, and we're going on the road, the offense uses it. We just kind of use it the whole time because we're in the middle of everything. So today it was right by our ball bag. So I think I got my eardrums just blasted out while I was getting football. So we have fun with it. I think for them it probably is more worthwhile than it is for us. For us, we just like to mentally just kind of get ourselves ready for where we're going to be.
Can you talk about your special teams unit, your room, and you've got a new face there snapping for you this season, but you've got Sam and you who are both back as starters this year. What's it been like to kind of have a new face kind of in the environment in the room with you, but also some familiarity with Sam as well?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think we have a really good situation in our group where we're all tight. We like to have fun here at the hotels. We're always joking around with each other. It's also, I think, we have a lot of the same guys, which just helps where we've built a system here. We've got our process that we go through in the off season, and just kind of the culture of, I guess, BYU specialists. And then you add someone like Garrison, who's been established at another school, and he's got a whole new thing that he can bring of, this is what we've done, this is what we've seen that works, and then we can combine what we've done just to find the best possible situation and prepare ourselves as good as we can. So it's cool. A lot of experience in the room. Garrison, we were looking at the games played, and it's a lot for all three of us. So it's cool, and it's nice to have a mature group that has all been under the lights before.
Yeah, a lot of games for you as well. And going back to your time at Boise State, you played with Bear and Tiger Bachmeier's older brother, Hank, there. What have you kind of used from your experience with Hank, and how that has maybe incorporated into your relationship with Tiger and Bear?
Yeah, it was funny. When I was my second year at Boise State, it was Hank's last year there, and I remember talking with him about his mental preparation and just the sports psychology aspect of of what he does. And I had looked into it a little bit at that point, but not nearly as much as I have now. And I think that kind of sparked me a little bit in wanting to dive into that part of my game a little bit more. So Hank's a stud, and I remember being surprised when I was a freshman kicker and he was a starting quarterback of how like welcoming and supportive and helpful he was to me. So it's cool. Now I get to see Hank a lot at the games, and getting to know Bear and Tiger a little bit more has been cool, and just an awesome family, and guys that are all very chill and very laid back, but are very serious and do their job really well.
I heard over the offseason you trained in Orlando. You've obviously kicked in humid environments as well. UCF a season ago, you went, I believe it was 3 of 3 on field goals and 4 of 4 on extra points in that game. You're traveling across 2 time zones, playing on the East Coast against the Pirates this weekend. What was that experience like, maybe from the Central Florida game a season ago, and what you also learned this season training in Orlando about kicking at low elevation and also in humidity that you're going to face again this week?
Yeah, none of that really changes much. There's like you might lose a yard or two going to a lower elevation. Humidity, sometimes it'll keep the ball up in the air a little bit longer for kickoffs or for punts. So there's little differences, but not enough to change what we're doing. When I was training in Orlando, it was in the middle of the summer and it was super hot and humid, and I got to experience the worst side of it. But luckily for us, we'll be playing an evening game, and I don't anticipate it being too bad. So I'm just excited. I think it'll be fun to go and be in a different environment and be on that side of the country. And when you're BYU, that means that there's a whole new stadium of fans that'll show up and support all the BYU fans on the East Coast. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see what we've got out there.
You obviously made the field goal against Portland State that tied the record at BYU. I know you've been asked about it probably endlessly in the last few weeks since then, but you had a chance, maybe it looked like, against Stanford, and then on the first opening possession for you guys, decided to go for it on 4th down. How much of a collaboration is it with you and Kelly Papinga and maybe trying to convince Kalani to let you kick a long field goal? Are you fighting for those opportunities, like in the moment? Like, are you going to Kelly Papinga and Kalani Sitake and saying, hey, coaches, like, let me go in and kick that? Or is it, something that's maybe predetermined from the coaches beforehand?
Yeah, it's the coaches it seems like they work in a committee almost, where they're all in it for the best interest of the team and all that. And I'm the guy where I'll always like kind of give them the look, but I'm not going to go and get in the coach's way and try and argue to kick, 'cause it's their decision. But I will give them that look and show them I'm ready, and I'll love any opportunity they give me, but that's their job and not mine. So I just, when they say kick the ball, I'll go and kick the ball, and that's kind of the extent of it.
Last question for you, Will, and I appreciate your time. You've been a leader on this team. What has it been like for you to be in those meetings? I believe it was Kalani Sitake yesterday that said that, after his press conference, he's going to take some time, I think a half hour or so later, where he was getting together with the leaders to meet. What are those opportunities like for you guys to, collaborate with the coaches on behalf of your teammates and being the representative for them?
It's so cool. Kalani is so good at including everybody, and he's not higher than anyone where like he'll take input from players and he'll apply it. He's even talked about taking input from fans before, which I'm not encouraging people to do, but he's so humble where everything's a council. He'll bring stuff to us and we'll share the players' opinion of it. I think that's part of the reason why he's been able to build the culture that he has here, because we feel like we're a part of it. We feel like we have a say in things, and it's pretty cool. So it's been fun to just learn leadership from him and see how he approaches things, and I think it's such a unique way of doing it. So it's cool.